This is David calling in from Nipple Clamps. Pronouns he, him, is a theist who says that 99, oh, excuse me, I'm real burpish. 99% of the couples who pray together never get divorced, and that's good evidence for God. David, you're on the line with John Forrest. I think that's terrible evidence for God, and I also think that's not a good thing to brag about. Let's talk about it.
Are you married, Forrest?
I am. And both my wife and I are atheists.
You pray with your wife? Well, good luck with your marriage.
Well, that's stupid and shitty to say.
Oh, that's fucking shitty.
It's a great way to start a conversation, dude. Oh, God, I got a weirdness stuck in my throat. David, you said 99% of the people who pray together get divorced. I have 3 questions for you. I'm going to start writing down. The first one is, do you have any actual evidence for that claim, or are you just pulling that out of your ass?
You know that has been studied. There's scientific papers about that.
Okay, let's assume that's true. Yeah, I want to know, but even if you can't, it doesn't matter. But I am curious to know if you have those references on hand.
I would have to get the references, but it is true. You can just Google 99% couples pray together.
So this is why, right. Well, so this is why I harp on this first, there, Forrest, is because I could just say anything. Like, I could say most scientists out there agree that if you shove a pipe up your ass, you won't get divorced. Like, I could say that, but that doesn't make it true.
What is going on with your phone?
It's a voice changer. I'm like 90% sure this is the same caller who's called twice already tonight on a voice changer, but good luck.
Yeah, we'll try a couple more things, because either way, I've heard shit like this before, and it's a terrible fucking argument, and I would like our audience to hear why it's a terrible fucking argument. So even if this person is just trolling, we can still make some use of it before they break and just start throwing around slurs or whatever it is they want to do. Yeah, I would like you to answer what John just said, and then I have 2 more major questions for you before we move forward.
Well, it's hard to remember what John said after that accusation.
Yeah, no, it's Arden threw you off. It was all her fault.
What actually? Oh, okay. No, I said that I can claim a whole lot of bullshit, about stuff, and then say, all scientists agree about this. It's another thing to actually support that with evidence. So that's why I typically am quick to be like, okay, can you support that? Can you show me the studies that show this? Because I didn't come in here to make this claim, but I'm fairly certain that I could go out there and find studies that show that religious relationships have a higher likelihood of being abusive in nature, or have some kind of abuse about it. I mean, I saw a documentary tonight about how the Amish are sexually abusing the women in their congregations. So I feel like I could definitely also find studies that show how harmful religion is to people in relationships. So, I mean, good for you if you can bring up some actual evidence for it. But as it stands right now, it just sounds like a bullshit claim to me until I see actual evidence. But I'll let Forrest get to his own.
I have a source.
Okay. I would love to hear it.
It's from a 1997 Gallup poll. It's from Rock Solid Family Ministries. And Gallup is pretty reliable.
So hold on a second. A late 90s Gallup poll from some ministry? Well, I don't know how those words work together, because Gallup is not a ministry.
It's its own thing.
But yeah, I don't know how those words work together. But
is the ministry the one sharing the information that Gallup gathered? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not sure. I haven't read the abstract. I'll be honest.
Because here's the thing. I found this that says a 1997 Gallup study done by the National Association of Marriage Enhancement showed the divorce rate for couples who regularly prayed together is 1 out of 1,152 couples. And so that's one thing that I found.
Impressive.
But I found that found that on just that's what?
That's impressive.
That's just what the claim is. So that's the claim that's being made here. This is not a good source that I found. This is just a blog that's talking about this, and I haven't found the actual source cited. But that doesn't really matter because the whole point was just to ask if that was true and if we knew that was true. I'm willing to assume that it's true because it actually would make sense a little bit if it was true. So let's assume that it's true. Let's assume that all these couples, 99% of the couples that pray together, stay in divorce, do not get divorced. Two major questions that I have. The next one is, why do you think that is, David?
I think the power of God.
Okay, so you don't think it has anything to do with spending meaningful time together with your partner, doing something that matters to both of you together, which definitely benefits relationships, and you don't think that it has anything to do with a participating in a culture that strongly frowns on divorce. You think that it's just God that is holding these people together.
It's in Jesus Christ.
So no thoughts, nothing about what I just said. You're just going to repeat another name of a different God. Okay. Follow-up question, David, is staying together always a good thing?
Men and women become one flesh. So yeah, unless you want to cut off your flesh.
So even if they're in an abusive relationship, they shouldn't get divorced?
If it's abusive, he would be in jail.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's obviously not true. If you like stats so much, you should look up the stats on how very, very, very rarely domestic abusers and rapists actually go to jail. Abuse happens all the time. Domestic abuse in marriages it happens a lot. In religious marriages as well, quite a bit. So I ask you a question again. If someone is in an abusive marriage, should they not get divorced?
The church needs to step in that scenario and make sure he stops abusing.
So you don't think that they should be separated from the person that is abusing them. You think that the church should step in and somehow or another stop this person from abusing their spouse.
Yes.
Which means you think that God is powerful enough, because I asked you a minute ago why they stay together, and you said it was the power of God. So God is powerful enough to keep someone trapped in a marriage with their abuser, but not powerful enough to stop them from being abused. Why is that?
Infinite love.
Infinite love, except for the abuse victim, who gets to continue being beaten and raped until the church helps out, which you should also look up statistics on how churches usually deal with claims and accusations of rape and abuse. It's not usually in the way that you seem to think that it is.
True.
I just want to add this in here. I just found a Sage journal article, which Forrest can tell me if that's a bad source to use, but basically the rate of abuse was higher in highly religious families. So it seems like it. Yeah, so the rate of abuse within families seems to be exacerbated by how religiously motivated the family, or how religion is integrated into the family. If it's more integrated into the family, it seems like the rate of sexual abuse is higher. What do you say about that?
I would say that's an issue in fundamentalist Protestant evangelical KJV only circles. That's not really an issue in apostolic Christian.
What's your evidence? What's your evidence that? What's your evidence that this journal article that I found is only talking about that very hyper specific denomination of Christianity?
I would say it's because the Prophet Mohammed was actually exiled in the Bible to Egypt.
What?
So it's a completely
the Prophet
different
Muhammad
claim.
in the Bible?
Yes.
Yeah. There's man, I don't want to call it too early, John, but like this one's on you as soon as you're ready. This guy's clearly not serious. So like if you want to keep going, I'm down to keep going. It's weird to have I think it's like 3 calls in a row now where somebody genuinely does not give a shit about what they think. And like, I'm kind of bored of it. I've got better shit to do. So like, I want to put on a good show, and this kind of makes for a bad show. Do you want to continue on? I'm fine with it if you do. I'm not trying to pressure you.
I mean, it's nearly 9 for me here, so I'm fine if we go ahead and go, because like I don't even know how to deal with how this guy, because it just seems like, no, and full offense meant, David, but it just kind of seems like you're just spouting off bullshit and expecting people to believe you, and like that's just not going to work for us, at least.
Especially considering the fact that like the initial claim was that like, oh, it's such a good thing all these people aren't getting divorced. And then John's going to say, hey, here's actually a really high proportion of religious people that are being abused. And you're like, fuck it, they're the wrong religion though. That going back to your original claim, you should still be happy that they're together and that their church is doing nothing, because at least they're not being divorced. And also it says that you say this is on the call screen, you said this is good evidence for God. This is shit evidence for God. This is evidence for a God that likes abuse. If this is indeed evidence for a God, which it fucking isn't. It's evidence for cultural cohesion. So like, you clearly don't give a shit about the things that you think. You've called in to just say a bunch of nonsense. You've not really answered any questions seriously. And the God that you worship is either useless or an asshole. So I don't think there's any reason to continue on, David. Unless you have something else to give us that's worth our time.
Well, I'd like to present evidence.
This was supposed to be your evidence. Do you have different evidence?
Yes, I think Christianity has been the biggest source of social justice in world history.
That's an insane thing to say. You know that's an insane thing to say. There's no way that you actually think that and have thought about it for 2 seconds. You can't do both. You can either think about what you just said or you can believe what you just said. You can't do both.
Jesus literally said you need to sell everything and follow him and feed the poor in order to go to heaven. So,
is that what churches do? Is that what the Catholic Church does?
That's what I do.
Is that what you sell everything? How are you talking to us on a phone right now?
Within reason.
Yeah, so it's not selling everything. It's selling everything within reason, which isn't what Jesus said. John, your mic's still muted. Yeah, see, this is the thing, man. You're just pulling this out of some hole. I don't know which one, but I'm not interested in finding out.
It's definitely the
more.
Asshole.
It seems to be. I don't know.
Okay, so Forrest, can I ask an honest question?
An honest question?
Where should I go from here, if you're being honest? Where should I go from here?
What? Where should you go from here? Probably.
Where should I go from here?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what he's saying.
Are you asking us like where your beliefs should go or what you should do?
Yes. If I have these beliefs that I'm attached to that are beneficial for my life, where should I go from here if it can't be proven?
I think that you should like grapple with the fact that the beliefs you have that are beneficial for your life are wholly unbeneficial and deeply detrimental to the lives of millions and millions of other people, especially women, people of color, and LGBT people. And then maybe grapple with the fact that that fucking sucks and you have no good reason to believe the things that you do. So quit believing them. John, any other notes?
No, I literally have no idea what's even being discussed at this point. Like, as far as like from David's end goes, like, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go which way or another as far as your beliefs go. Like, I don't care what you believe.
Yeah. I care about what you believe because I don't want you to hurt anybody.
You're
I think that your beliefs do. We're not, dude, you called us.
How does it hurt anyone if I pray to Jesus every day?
It means that you are holding a belief system which fundamentally devalues literally all people, but especially certain groups. And beliefs inform actions. So the longer you let yourself get sucked into that shit, the more likely you are to turn into a monster, which is what the God of the Bible is. And if you worship a monster, you're going to start emulating that monster.
Not only that, but like,
Christianity.
It's, hold on. Progressive Christianity. John. Okay. So like, so you asked, what does it hurt to pray to Jesus every day? And like, that's an incredibly myopic like point to make, because like, like what Forrest said, beliefs inform actions. People that pray every day to Jesus are the same ones that will deny their child insulin when they have diabetes and cause them to die. And I believe there's a couple of counties in Idaho where they pray to Jesus every day, and their child mortality rate has skyrocketed past the state's child mortality rate. And that's due to the fact that they forego medical treatments for women and children when they give birth, and they rely on this faith healing kind of bullshit. So, I mean, just saying, oh, what does it hurt to pray to Jesus every day? I mean, I think that you have to think of the wide swath of things that happen, considering the people that do pray to Jesus every day for various different things. So, like, it's an incredibly myopic statement to make, and you're just not going to have a good time when you make it. And then, I'm sorry, you tried to interrupt me with something.
He was talking about progressive Christianity.
Yeah,
and the problem with progressive Christianity is that it requires you to ignore most of the Bible in order to come up with something that is more palatable and marketable in 2024. It's just rebranding and rainbow washing and trying to make this thing look like it's actually not. And like the Bible is a horrific book. And you're trying to paint it as something that's actually allegorical and poetic and beautiful and blah, blah, blah. And Jesus actually loves all the people that we have historically been using Jesus to persecute and to murder. And actually, it's a totally different thing now. It's bullshit that is used whenever churches are running out of donations and need more asses in seats. So I'm not convinced by it. I'm not impressed by it. You shouldn't be either, David. But I think we're going to move on, because I think you need to think more about your actual beliefs before you continue to spout them, if indeed you do believe these things and are not just a troll calling in with a different voice changer, which is yet to be seen. Have an awesome rest of your day, David. We're going to move on now. Bye-bye. Man, I don't like being a butt, but like, I feel like the last few calls had to be real grumpy with people because they're just not fucking serious.
Yeah, and like it's been a real kind of a mind fuck for me just because of the brain fog that I got going on. I don't know, like I feel like maybe I'm not understanding them, but then it's like, oh no, I'm totally not understanding them, and so it's been a little mind fucky for me.
I think David is also the user Drink Water, who is in the chat saying this caller's good. He has them stumped. I
was literally just saying that in chat.
Yeah, I think he was getting into the chat to talk himself up, and is totally not Mike and is totally not Shauna. Man, weird whole thing.
Hey there, Eric. Noting that anyone watching that clip makes atrociously poor life decisions, where should they send their protection money to prevent further damage?
All protection money should be sent to patreon.com/calltheline, or else we will break your kneecaps.
Okay, we can't say that. I think we can't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hit like and subscribe.